What's up, everyone? Welcome to another UFC Quick Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. We have UFC St. Louis this weekend. Derek Lewis versus Rodrigo Nascimento in the main event. 13 fights on the slate. A ton of live underdogs this week, which kind of is the key piece of the puzzle. Which underdogs are going to win, as always, to a degree. But there's so many more options this week than usual. I'm going to give you my favorite cash game play, tournament play, salary play, and a matchup I like from a DraftKings perspective as well. Before I do, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below. Give me someone who you think is going to be a little bit different than the field, as well as there being a lot of underdog options. There's a lot of obvious standout chalky options this week as well, coming off a chalky card last week. Tell me a place where you're going to be a little bit different. I'm always curious to hear what you all have to say. Without further ado, let's get into my cash game play of the week, which is going to be Mateusz Rebecki at 9.4K. Okay, I'm using Rebecki in cash games this week at 9.4K, and it's honestly kind of just by default. I really don't know where else to go. I think this is a really, really difficult week for cash games. A lot of fighters on both sides of the coin are very boom or bust. We have a lot of competitive matchups. Rebecki at least is safe on paper. He's minus 505 to win against Carlos Diego Ferreira. It's not hard to get the salary to pay up this high, and Rebecki can wrestle. He's won 3 times in the UFC, scored 112, 104, and 122, so he's shown upside within his style. He's also got a minus 150 inside the distance line. He rates out well. He's affordable despite being expensive with grappling upside. That's why I like him in cash games. I still think it's a tough fight against Diego Ferreira, who's a really good submission grappler, who's very experienced, and I'm not all that convinced Rebecki wins this fight easily, but Rebecki has physical advantages. He's much younger than Ferreira, should be a better wrestler, and ultimately I do like backing metrics long-term, and Rebecki is safe in that regard, so he will be my cash game play of the week. Next up, my tournament play of the week. I'll give you a place where I am going to be unique, and that's Trey Waters at 8.8K fighting against Billy Goff, who I also do like, and I think I actually picked Billy Goff to win in my article. Waters is minus 156 to win, Goff's plus 135. I really liked Goff coming into the UFC as well as a fighter who can break you with pace, fight through adversity. He's getting hurt, taken down, etc. Mostly hurt in a lot of his fights and coming back and winning in that Billy Quarantillo-esque style, won by knockout in the first round of his UFC debut. I really like him, not in his ceiling for within the promotion. I don't think he's going to be a champion anytime soon, but I like that style of fighting. He'll fight for your money. It's an interesting matchup against Trey Waters because I don't have a good read on Trey Waters yet, and I'm not sure the public does either. What I do know is that he's an efficient striker, very tall and long, 6'5". He's going to be 7 inches taller than Billy Goff, 5 inches of reach edge on him there as well. And given Goff's style, Goff's going to have to close the distance. So I think what either happens is Waters is so much bigger, taller, longer than him. As Goff closes the distance, Waters is going to strike efficiently and potentially hurt Goff, or Goff is just going to be able to wade through that, eventually hurt Waters himself. So I like the matchup on both sides. Waters, I think, will be lower owned. He's coming off a UFC debut win, scoring 78 points, priced right below Ribovics, right below Despaigne, right above Buckley, which is going to be a very popular range. I think he gets overlooked in this spot, and although he is boom or bust, I like the contrarian appeal of him because of the stylistic dynamics that I'm talking about, where it's just, it may not play out competitively. It's either Waters at long distance or Goff at short distance, and Goff is aggressive enough to push that pace. So I think taking a chance on Waters in that he could hurt Goff coming in. Goff's been hurt before, been knocked down before, even on the Contender Series. Waters is plus 110 to win inside the distance, I believe. Let me double check. Plus 115. So still decent finishing equity, hopefully overlooked in that spot, and I think he's a strong tournament / contrarian target this week. All right, next up, a salary play of the week. Again, let's go more contrarian here. I'm going to go with Waldo Cortez Acosta fighting Robelis Despaigne, and Despaigne will probably be the highest owned fighter on the slate now that I've done projections briefly, but coming off a UFC debut win in which he scored 128 points, all of his fights essentially end in the first 20 seconds. He's just destroying guys immediately, a big, powerful monster of a human, and I am not fooled into thinking he can't do the same exact thing to Cortez Acosta. If Despaigne wins, it's probably a quick knockout. But I think that's very much on the table. But Cortez Acosta has proven the ability to fight over the distance, proven the ability to land a lot of strikes. He's a good boxer. And I think over an extended period, Cortez Acosta has the advantages. Despaigne hasn't proven anything outside of 20 seconds. So if Cortez Acosta survives, which is a challenge, I think he can have success over the long run, and probably he'll just hurt and finish Despaigne anyway. The fight's minus 800 to end inside the distance. Cortez Acosta's plus 215 to win inside the distance at 7.2K. Not only will Cortez Acosta be great leverage against Despaigne directly, but he'll be strong leverage within this price range of Rosboev, Goff, and McKinney, who are priced right above Cortez Acosta and should all be quite popular underdog targets. So it's a boom or bust matchup. No reason to be confident in Cortez Acosta especially, but I do think he sets up well. If he can survive initial bursts, he has tools to potentially test Despaigne, which is what I'm looking for. Add in the leverage. I like Cortez Acosta at 7.2K. All right, and finally, my matchup of the week, I'm going more chalky here with Vyacheslav Borshev taking on Chase Hooper. Borshev 8.5K, Hooper 7.7K. Borshev is slight favorite at minus 136. Very binary matchup, though, in that Hooper is a weaker athlete, but tough kid, good grappler, gonna march forward, try and do his best. A lot of times his best has been getting kind of walloped on the feet. He got knocked down 3 times by Steve Garcia in a minute and a half. Knocked down the Contender Series, knocked down by Alex Caceres. He doesn't have striking defense. He's just not a great athlete. It is what it is. And now fighting an experienced kickboxer in Borshev, who should be way better than him on the feet, way more technical and powerful. Borshev is very likely to hurt Hooper if this fight plays out on the feet. Conversely, Borshev doesn't defend takedowns well. 36% takedown defense, giving up lots of takedowns to Mike Davis, to Mark Jacasey. And I think that if Hooper gets on top of Borshev, he can have a lot of success. I don't project Hooper to land a lot of takedowns, which is why ultimately he's the underdog in this fight. He's just not a good wrestler, but very long, lengthy, flexible, good with jiu-jitsu. And I think if he's able to get on top of Borshev, they'll just take his back, control him, pound him out, or lock it up a submission. So I'm really high on both sides of the matchup. It's possible that Hooper's even more popular this week. Borshev plus 100 to win inside the distance. Hooper plus 195 to win inside the distance. Great for their respective prices. One of my favorite matchups on this slate for sure. And that's going to do it for this week's UFC Quick Picks. Thank you so much for the support. You can follow me on Twitter, Brett Appley, +T+P. If you want any more content, just post that all on EstablishTheRun.com. Went 2 hours breaking down every single fight on the slate with my boy Gordo Gambles. Full breakdowns out as well. Projections will come out Friday as usual. Again, thank you guys. Thanks to Pat and the team for having us on. Good luck this week, and talk to y'all soon. Peace.